If you want some, come get some.
This is such good shit.
I am the visionary. I am a revolutionary. I am Seth.
You can cry. I can't give the stuff to Nestle, but I can give it to my mama. I can give it to my mommy.
Acknowledge me.
Lately, he just hasn't been.
Alright, what is up, you guys? His name is Ryan, and it's his show.
Yes, sir. Long time no see. We haven't done a live one in quite some time, so
Exactly.
it's nice. We'll both find, our schedule finally lined up together, so because we're both very busy.
Exactly. And this is Rasslin with Ryan.
Yeah.
We're both wearing John Cena
The
t-shirts.
goat.
I'm being facetious when wearing mine because I wanted to antagonize Ryan, claiming myself as the biggest John Cena fan, but we all know.
But this guy doesn't realize I literally have been buying every farewell tour shirt.
I think I have the John Cena Word Live t-shirt.
Yeah, you have the classic one.
Yeah.
And then
I have this one.
this one. I thought you had one more.
Do I have one more? I have the hat. The hustle, loyalty, respect.
Oh
hat.
yeah, you do like that hat.
Yeah.
Well, because that hat you said goes with it, which
Exactly.
it does. That hat does go.
Yeah.
with
When I was in
everything.
high school, I had the Chain Gang Soldier shirt. I wore that a lot.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's about it. This guy, how many John Cena t-shirts? I'm telling
I'm
you,
at like 20 something.
20 something. I'm telling you, you need to make a TikTok
I'm going to.
of like you just doing like the John Cena pose, doing that, but like
It just
you know,
like the shirt just
the shirts keep like changing.
The only thing because I want the Saudi shirts, but I don't think they're selling them here because I think those were exclusive to Saudi, which is a bump. But it's like, it's fine.
You have more than enough.
Yeah,
I joke around because there's like a meme of Homer Simpson of like which white t-shirt he's gonna wear. This is
And-
Ryan.
and it's like they're all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's all my Cena shirts. They're basically all the same. It's just like, okay, which color do I want to wear?
Exactly. Green color, green, yellow,
Green,
red,
yellow,
black,
blue, black, white.
baby blue, variations of colors.
Well, I know. Well, if you notice, a lot of the shirts he's been doing are throwbacks to his old
Mhm.
T-shirts, like the color schemes.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the T-shirts are like this is the Phoenix one, and this is like Phoenix Suns colors. In fact, yesterday boo. But yesterday in San Antonio,
Yep.
he had his shirt was all like Spurs themed,
Mm-hmm.
which it actually was a pretty sick shirt. You know who had another Spurs themed shirt?
Who?
Jacob Fatu.
Oh, damn.
They, from what I heard, they want to push him as one of the face of the company, and they might be doing like what they've been doing with Cena. He might get like a city design, like a city themed shirt.
Look, man,
for his merch.
he's over, and they're going to push him to the moon, future world champion.
And now that he's a baby face, it's like
Yep.
now is a really good time to do
Exactly.
it. 'Cause he got over on his own, like pretty much from day one when he debuted. He's like skyrocketed.
Exactly.
You could tell, be like, okay, if this group ever breaks up, it's like this is the guy that's gonna become a star after.
Exactly.
And it's
Yep.
like, look, he's already there.
Exactly.
So
But anyways,
back on topic.
well, quickly, do you know which era this shirt is from?
Yeah, it's when you return in Money in the Bank 2021.
There you go. Exactly. You could probably name every era which shirt.
I could.
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah.
The only difficult part would be like the jersey, but it's like
Yeah.
most of his jerseys just depend on the city he was in.
Exactly. Well, when he started wearing jerseys, they were all NBA jerseys.
Yeah, they're all NBA jerseys, and then he started wearing NFL jerseys.
Exactly. But anyways, today we're talking SummerSlam, but just more specifically, we're talking SummerSlam main events.
Yeah, like some of our favorite main events. Main events that like we feel stand out, whether it's like more recent, because there's been a lot of good SummerSlam main events, especially in the
Mhm.
in recent years. It's probably since 2011 we've had some pretty solid SummerSlam main
Yeah,
events.
I would say
You've had some that are like
last year's
Eh.
wasn't that great. I wouldn't think so.
Last year's was
It was Solo
Cody-
versus Cody.
Oh yeah, that one was man.
The only thing, and everyone knew Roman was going to return.
I think that's the only reason why that was the main event.
Exactly.
If Roman wasn't returning, that match probably wouldn't have main evented.
Right. Exactly.
But usually if something big happens, then usually a match gets the main event spot.
Right.
Even if the match isn't the best, it's like if there's something big, 99% of the time it's getting the main event spot.
Exactly. But yeah, we can start with there, and then afterwards we're going to be previewing this upcoming SummerSlam.
Yeah, especially because now that more matches have been announced, So it's like we actually have a basis to talk about for this upcoming SummerSlam.
Exactly.
Now that the card's almost finalized.
But yeah, let's go ahead. You can start. What is your all-time favorite SummerSlam main event?
Okay, so this is a toss-up because I have like two specifically. But I know for me, I'm going to say this one because this was actually the first ever pay-per-view I ordered and like watched before the WWE Network. It was SummerSlam 2011.
Oh wow, that was the first one, huh?
That was because they were in LA, and originally I was going to go to that one, but my dad told me like, okay, if we don't go, I'll order the pay-per-view.
Oh really?
So we did. So he ordered the pay-per-view. So SummerSlam 2011 was the first ever pay-per-view I actually watched, and So this is a little bit of bias, but it's also because like it was a great main event, despite what happened afterwards.
Yeah.
CM Punk versus John Cena, both of them are WWE champion.
Yeah.
For the undisputed WWE championship.
Yeah.
Triple H is special guest referee.
Yeah.
It's not their best match.
No, because they had a better match at Money in the Bank.
2011. Even now, I will tell you, I will die on a hill. Any Cena and Punk fan will tell you. Their greatest match ever was Money in the Bank 2011. Right. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've always had great matches, but like that one, even today, it's still talked about as one of the greatest matches, like not just in Money in the Bank history, but like ever.
Right. Exactly.
And that just goes to show you how great of a chemistry Cena and Punk have.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about SummerSlam 2011? It takes me back into like where I was in my life. 2011, I remember I couldn't afford, so like I didn't have the money to give to my mom to pay for the pay-per-view. So what you could do back then is if you wanted to watch the pay-per-views but you couldn't buy it, like afford it on like cable, is you could buy it. I believe you could buy it off of WWE.com at the time. I don't think a lot of people knew that. But instead of spending like $59 something for the pay-per-view, I think I spent like $30 or 20 something bucks to watch it on WWE.com.
Oh, okay.
But the only thing was I could only watch it on my laptop. Yeah. And other than that was the only other option of watching was trying to find a streaming site at that time.
But back then it was a lot harder to find a streaming site compared to now.
There was streaming sites, but you had to know where.
Yeah, where like compared to now, it's like, you just look up and you'll find something. Like back then, it's like you really had to. There was very few, and it's like you had to have known about it.
Exactly.
If you didn't know about them, you're like, okay, well, if
I
can't buy the pay-per-view, I guess I can't watch it. I'll have to wait for the recap or whatever.
I remember calling a number off of WWE.com to order the pay-per-view. And that's how I watched SummerSlam 2011. It's kind of weird. Because I remember just having the money, like I had like $20 in my bank account, and I was like, I'm just gonna use it to like watch it off of WWE.com.
Yeah. So it's pretty ironic. So for me, that's like it's a favorite of mine because of like it's the first pay-per-view I ever watched, and like I really felt the story going into the match was great. John Cena was WWE champion, CM Punk was WWE champion because he never lost the title. And so it's like coming into the match, it's like, all right. And I like how they call it. It doesn't have the same, it had a better meaning back then compared to now when they call it the undisputed WWE champion. It's like, well, it makes sense because you actually have two guys who claim to be WWE champion. Mm-hmm. So now they're going to have a match determined like, okay, who is the undisputed champion? Right. Like who is the true champion between the two?
Yeah. You know why I couldn't afford SummerSlam that year? Or like to fully buy it on pay-per-view? This is because I ordered Money in the Bank.
Oh,
I ordered Money in the Bank the previous one.
That makes sense.
We watched it. I watched it at my house.
Yeah.
And I think my brother was gonna like buy it or like pay for it, but I ended up paying for it. And then my mom was like, "We're not buying like 2 pay-per-views in a row." And I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna watch it on my laptop."
But yeah. So they had a great solid match. Cena got robbed. He was screwed. His foot was his foot was on the rope. It was.
I don't even remember that, but
I do. I don't remember just for that reason. It's just like I said, because it's the first pay-per-view I watched. I have a very vivid memory of that match.
Yeah,
I do. And like towards the end, that's when Kevin Nash came out, and we got the whole Kevin Nash and CM Punk feud that nobody ever asked for, and nobody thought we would see in 2011. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was no need for that feud, but it was whatever.
Yeah, Though, and Kevin Nash. That was such a random.
It was such a weird time.
Weird time. He
2011 was
much
an odd
older at
time.
that point. Yeah,
And he dyed his hair.
it was jet black.
Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah, it's like you could tell, like as I go, you could tell it's like he dyed his hair. Like,
And also, like, he didn't fit into any of that. Like,
there's no they just it's like where does he fit in this story?
yeah, it's just so random that
He had like one match with Punk and like that was it.
Well, he had the match afterwards, I think. But then, like, yeah, he like it was just such a random surprise.
And then they were teasing Kevin Nash and Triple H.
Yeah,
and then that fell through.
Yeah, and then is that where we got CM Punk and Triple H or no? But I think Nash and Triple H did have a weird ladder for 2011.
It was such a weird year.
Triple H and Kevin Nash had a ladder match.
It was such a weird year.
Yeah.
I mean, you have like some great
TLC.
You had some great moments, like Punk and Cena at Money in the Bank, but 2011, that was an odd year. And with me being an avid WWE, even I'll be like, yeah, no, that year I don't really remember much from 2011 outside of like SummerSlam and Money in the Bank.
Exactly.
Like I really don't.
Exactly.
And you had WrestleMania. What? You had WrestleMania 27. Not a great WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble was, with the 40-man.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I feel like my all-time favorite. It wasn't a great match, but this is probably the biggest build to a SummerSlam match ever, and they've never had a build to like this ever since. 1998, Highway to Hell, Undertaker versus Stone Cold. And I really just bring this up because the video package, if you've never seen it, you go on your YouTube and type in WWE Highway to Hell, Stone Cold, Undertaker. It's the most badass video you'll ever see in your life of these just two mammoth guys just colliding together.
I will say back then WWE was like killed it with promo packages.
Have you seen it?
I don't think I have.
You have to. Okay.
I have to.
You have to.
But I will say they WWE was like killed it with like promo packages.
I would show it right now, but this is going to go on YouTube, and I don't want to cause any copyright.
I know one of my personal favorite promo packages is My Way with The Rock and Stone Cold for WrestleMania.
Exactly.
That one's one. And then another promo package I really like was Shawn Michaels and Undertaker for WrestleMania 26.
Yeah.
That promo package.
But SummerSlam 98, the match there, it wasn't a great match. It was actually quicker than a lot of people expected it to be. And I think Undertaker was working with a broken ankle at that point. But like in terms of like the hype for that match, Undertaker was at his peak in terms of popularity. Stone Cold was at his absolute peak in terms of popularity. You had these two mammoth guys coming together, and it was a great package. Yeah, I mean SummerSlam '98, man. That was I feel like that was a good. And also that SummerSlam wasn't the main event, but also had a ladder match between The Rock and Triple H for the Intercontinental title. So it also at Madison Square Garden. So that kind of had the allure of everything.
Yeah, MSG adds a bunch. Even if it may not be like the best of shows with the best of matches, it's Madison Square Garden.
Exactly.
It's always going to stand out because of how great and outstanding of a venue Madison Square Garden is.
Exactly. Yep. All right. What's next on your list?
Another one I have is from SummerSlam 2013. John Cena versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. A match that actually wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan was not supposed to be fighting for the championship, but the crowd wanted him.
Yep.
And so they basically had no choice but to insert him into the match for the title. And then this is when Cena was dealing with that nasty elbow injury.
Oh, yeah. It looked like he had a tennis ball.
Yeah. And so you got to give props to him, too, because I'm sure it probably hurt. Even with that brace on it, it probably was pretty uncomfortable for him.
Yeah.
But those two put on a classic match. I think this is like another one of those matches where Cena really stepped up and like showed his technical prowess.
Yeah.
Because like we had seen it like every now and then, but I think this was like the first time since his match with Punk where we actually saw like a true technical side of John Cena in the match. Because that match was great. The crowd was into it. A lot of close calls. Triple H was a special guest referee.
Exactly.
So it was a solid match. Obviously Daniel Bryan won. He finally won the big one, the WWE Championship. And then you have the what I think was actually a truly unexpected and shocking heel turn is Triple H giving a pedigree to Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton cashing in Money in the Bank.
Oh yeah.
Because the reason I say it's shocking because I know at the time I was watching it, I never expected to see Triple H turn heel.
Really?
At least at that point, because there was nothing that was pointing to him turning heel,
right?
At all. It was just him being like, you know what? I feel like the best way for this match to be run down the middle is if I'm the referee.
Exactly.
There were no signs pointing that Triple H was going to turn.
Right.
None at all.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel like that's what made like post match great because it was genuinely shocking. It's like you're like, what? Be like, why? Why?
Yeah.
Why would they do this?
Yeah. And also I remember at the time being like surprised about it, but also coming off very excited because first off we didn't expect the Triple H heel turn, but then him turning on Daniel Bryan, pedigreeing him, and then giving Randy Orton the win. Because Randy Orton cashed in his Money in the Bank. He was the Money in the Bank winner at that year. And so him giving the title basically to Randy Orton and then him raising his hand, it also felt like, dang, like it kind of reminded me of like the corporation back from like 1999.
And this was the kickstart of the Authority.
Well, gosh dang. The Authority overstayed its welcome for many years after that.
Yeah.
And we were all sick to death of the Authority like a year or so after. But initially I thought, dang, this is pretty cool. We're going to get like a corporation, like a new corporation with like Randy Orton, Triple H, the McMahons and, everyone else.
And it was one of those things, like you said, it's completely unexpected. Like,
no, we did not need the Big Show and Kane to be dominating our television for a whole year after that.
No.
But,
but
I digress.
But it's still no that still was a great like shocking moment and stuff. So
yeah, exactly. I think now I said 1998, but 97 SummerSlam main event was one of the best main events of all time, in my opinion. For the WWF Championship, you had the champion, The Undertaker, defending against Bret the Hitman Hart in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. The same pay-per-view that Owen Hart, he driven Stone Cold into the mat and Stone Cold broke his neck. So that was the same pay-per-view. But in that main event, WWF title match, Undertaker, Bret Hart, and special guest referee Shawn Michaels. All those guys had their stories going on. Bret was challenging for the title, trying to become a 5-time WWF champion.
It's crazy to think in the few matches we've named, they've all had a special guest referee.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's kind of ironic how all these matches we're talking about had a special guest referee in some capacity.
That's weird. I didn't realize that. But great match between Undertaker and Bret. They were feuding at that point. Undertaker, was the champion. He had won the title at WrestleMania from that year from Psycho Sid. Had carried the title, all the way to SummerSlam. And Bret coming now a newly transformed heel. All through these years we saw Bret as the babyface.
Oh, was this the Bret Hates America character?
Yes, that was right in the peak of it. So at WrestleMania that year, we saw the double turn with Stone Cold and Bret.
Greatest double turn of all time.
Exactly. That led to Bret reforming the Hart Foundation. Hart Foundation. I knew that. Hart Foundation. Can't speak right now.
It's okay.
But the Hart Foundation was a tag team back in the 80s. As Bret went into a singles, he became WWF champion in the 90s. But then, Jim the Anvil was, kind of fired and hired throughout the years. And then, he came back to the company. But then Owen and Bulldog were a tag team before that. I think they were tag teaming for like a couple years. But then they kind of started feuding against each other for a little bit. And I remember a Monday Night Raw where Owen and Bulldog were kind of like pushing each other, about to go out in blows, and then Bret, coming off his heel turn, said, "Look, we need to unite the family," because Bulldog being married into the family, he was a part of the family, and so they united the family and they reunited the Hart Foundation. Then they brought Anvil into it, and then eventually they brought Brian Pillman into it because Pillman trained in the dungeon, and so there goes the Hart Foundation. So this was right at the peak of Bret's I Hate America. Yeah. But it was weird because as Bret would go outside of the country, he was a beloved babyface. So if he would go to Europe, he'd be cheered. He obviously
pretty much if he went anywhere outside the US, he was like the most loved guy.
Exactly.
That even he's in the US, everybody
Yeah.
boos him. He's like the most hated man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you know he was doing great heel work.
Exactly. Great heel work, great heel promos, but also kind of like that whiny, kind of like unsufferable heel, because he wasn't like a strong babyface anymore where he was like the guy that would go and kick your ass. Now in America, he would be like the guy that kind of whines and complains about things. I remember infamously Wheelchair Brett where Sean kicked him out of his wheelchair. But this is right in the peak of it. So, Brett and Sean hated each other. Sean was coming back from injury at that point, and so, he was a special guest referee in that match. And in the main event, that's where Sean was conflicted. He basically was feuding with Brett, but then because, Brett brought the chair in, Sean took it away. Sean went to go hit Brett with the chair. Brett ducks, nails Undertaker, and then that kind of kicked off the new Undertaker Shawn Michaels feud, which led to Hell in a Cell in October, where we get the debut of Kane. And so a whole lot of things transpiring in that moment. But I think like those stories intertwining in each other, which led to other stories, down the road. I think you can consider it as one of the best SummerSlam main events.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see. Another one I have. This one, it may not be the greatest of matches, but this is also because I was there live for it. Was SummerSlam 2021 in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. It was John Cena versus Roman Reigns.
How many John Cena main events are you gonna have?
Well, okay, but this one's different because this one I was there.
That was a lame main event.
Yeah, but I was there live for it.
Okay.
No, but it's the crowd. It's the crowd reaction.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting for.
I'm joking.
This was a time where like Cena was actually getting cheered. Like he was the fan favorite compared to like, oh, he's usually the one getting mixed reaction and booed. But in this case, it's like no, Roman's the one getting the boos and like the mixed reaction. Cena's like the fan favorite.
Yeah.
So it may not have been the greatest of matches, but I enjoyed it. I definitely think his entrance was great too. Probably one of his better entrances. That's when he had the Super Mario T-shirt.
Yep.
Which was even he said recently that's his all-time favorite T-shirt design.
Yeah.
Super Mario. So that was cool. So I have it there mostly because like I was there and like.
Yeah.
I didn't know if or when I would actually see John Cena wrestle live again.
Yeah.
Because this was a time where it's like,
well, Cena was not around. Really.
He was not around, so that's why.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, am I going to be able to see him wrestle again after this? So it's kind of like one of those like bittersweet moments for me because it's like this might be the last time I see him wrestle.
Yeah, it could be the last time you see him wrestle for the title too.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the main reason why, because it's kind of like sentimental to me. But like outside of it may not have been the greatest of matches, but like just like the crowd was really hyped. But then also after this match, we got the return of Brock Lesnar.
Ponytail Brock.
That's kind of where I was going with this too. Mm-hmm. This will lead into my next SummerSlam main event when I get there. But like when Brock came out and that crowd pop was loud. I witnessed two crazy returns that night because Becky Lynch returned and Brock. I don't think I've.
Was it Becky in 2021?
Yes. Okay. She came out and beat Bianca in like 22 seconds.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but like that was, I think at the time, like I've heard louder pops since, but I think at that time those are the two loudest pops I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Like at least in person, and like. That whole night, like that whole SummerSlam was actually a pretty good show.
Yeah,
it was because you had Edge and Seth Rollins. That match was great. Mm-hmm. You had Goldberg and Bobby Lashley, which actually surprisingly was actually a pretty decent match.
Not too bad.
It was not too bad, but I think it was better than most people thought it would be.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. Overall, plus it was also like the first big show with a full crowd post COVID.
Right.
Well, COVID was still a thing. Like we had to wear masks and all that stuff. But this was like the first big show with a full crowd.
Right.
Since COVID. So.
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, on the subject of Brock Lesnar, I can go back to SummerSlam 2002, Rock versus Brock. hyped up main event.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the whole match, but I know
You
like
go
the
back and
gist of
watch
it.
it, dude. Yeah.
No, I know that that match like helped solidify Brock as like, all right, this is like the future.
Now, I kind of categorize this as pretty much The Rock, his last go around as a full time.
Yeah, because he was still full time in 2002.
Still full time. He took
2003.
like a month or two break in between 2002 or up until the summer. But this was the last time we really saw The Rock as a full time competitor. And then he, pretty much the last time until 2013 we saw him as the champion. And so this was kind of like The Rock's send off because after SummerSlam 2002, we didn't see The Rock until 2003 ish around January, February until he came back as Hollywood Rock. And then Hollywood Rock, we only saw him part time, and then that was pretty much it for The Rock. But going back to SummerSlam 2002, we had the champion, The Rock, defending up against this new upcomer, Brock Lesnar. Brock winning the King of the Ring. He was just a blue chipper at that point, to quote JR. I mean, they put the rocket on this guy. 2002, him leading up to King of the Ring also led to Stone Cold's walkout. As everyone, well, not everyone knows, but Stone Cold, basically they booked Stone Cold to lose to Brock Lesnar on a random match, a King of the Ring qualifier match
on Raw
for him to lose to Brock. And Stone Cold was just like, I'm not losing to this young kid. I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin, and rightfully so. That's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And this is a time where it's like we don't know if Brock's going to be a star or not. So it makes sense for Stone Cold to be like, oh, that's Brock Lesnar. Yeah, but at the time, we don't know if Brock's going to be a star or not.
Exactly. And so Stone Cold walks out of the company. So no Stone Cold in the summer of 2002. We don't see Stone Cold again until 2003. And also this is kind of The Rock's farewell. So you really you have your two top guys, Stone Cold and The Rock, leaving the company at the end of the summer in 2002. And this is kind of the coronation of the new young blood champion, Brock Lesnar. Brock, a heck of a match. I think it went 12 to 15 minutes, fast paced. These two bulls going at it. In the end, Brock picks up The Rock for an F5, 1, 2, 3. We have a new champion.
And you know what's crazy? Speaking of Brock Lesnar, he seems to work at his best when the match is fast paced.
Yeah,
he works at his best when the matches are fast paced and with smaller guys.
Right.
I know it's because when he wrestles smaller guys, you wouldn't think a guy like Brock Lesnar could pull off moves that he did. Mm-hmm. But with smaller guys, you're like, damn, this guy can actually wrestle. He's not just this big jacked muscly dude. It's like, no, this guy can actually go and
exactly.
Yeah. Some of the best matches of his career were with smaller guys.
Yeah, and this was look at Brock Lesnar, such a natural, freakish athlete at that point. I mean, the guy was just so strong, stronger than pretty much anybody on that roster.
At the time. Well, actually, there was one guy. Brock Lesnar said there's one guy that actually beat Brock Lesnar in an arm wrestling match.
Who?
Kane.
Really?
Yep.
Oh wow.
So
Kane was just a unit.
Kane was a beast in his prime.
Yeah.
So, but I found it interesting that it's like, wow, all the guys is the only one guy beat Brock in arm wrestling. It was Kane.
Exactly.
I'm like, you know what? I'm not surprised because Kane's a freaking unit.
Yeah.
That dude was he was a beast in his prime. I would not want to mess with him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one of my personal favorites.
Yeah.
Is 2002.
Yeah.
Also, that SummerSlam having the return of Shawn Michaels against Triple H in an unsanctioned match.
Oh yeah, and they put on that's also one of the greatest SummerSlam matches ever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Wasn't the main event, but that was still one of the greatest SummerSlam matches ever.
Exactly.
It's probably the best match Shawn Michaels and Triple H ever had.
Yeah. Exactly.
So now continuing with Brock Lesnar, I go into my next one. It's SummerSlam 2022. From Nashville. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the title in a last man standing match.
Yep.
And everyone's like, oh, another Brock Roman, again? Even we were like, really, they're gonna run it back?
Yeah.
By far, this match blew all their other matches up by far.
By far.
Without a doubt, this match was the greatest match Brock and Roman ever had.
They labeled it as their last ever match, and I'm glad it was their last ever match. But if
and I think the last man standing stipulation helped it.
Yes, exactly.
Because because I think all their other matches they didn't really. I don't think they had stipulation matches before this one.
Yeah.
I don't think.
And also, we've seen Stone Cold drive down to the ring in a beer truck,
But we've never seen a superstar drive down to the ring in a tractor, and then lift up the ring with said tractor.
We have never seen
that. That was crazy. I think
Yeah.
I don't know if you. I was watching that. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I'll watch my language, but I was like, I'll say crap. Is that okay? I was like, oh crap! Like I wasn't expecting it because he literally lifted the ring and like turned it like sideways, and you just see Roman like,
yeah.
The crowd popped so loud for that.
That visual of the ring just being tilted up.
I don't think we. At least since I've watched, I've never seen anything like that. In the years I've watched it, I had never seen anything like that.
Me neither. I've seen. Okay, when Stone Cold drove the Zamboni to the ring, he actually, like in '98, he hit the ring and the ring actually shifted.
And then isn't that when he jumped?
The beer truck.
Is that when he jumped from it into the ring? Yeah.
But it might have been the beer truck or the Zamboni.
I do remember. But this was like the first time we actually saw the ring move.
Yeah. The only thing that I can really compare to it was the first ever on SmackDown
when Brock Lesnar suplexed the Big Show
off the top rope.
And the ring broke.
Yeah, and the ring imploded.
To this day, that is still the best ring implosion. To this day,
that was probably one of the I would think the best SmackDown highlight of all time.
Oh yeah,
totally surprising.
It caught everybody off guard.
Exactly.
And now they do it. Now if you see two big men, it's like okay, they're gonna.
The last time they did it was with
and then if you don't see the LED post, like okay, they're gonna break the ring. That's like the giveaway now. It's like you don't see the LED post.
Well, yeah, and then also like. They tried it a couple more times. It just didn't have the same effect.
No, because this one was completely unexpected.
Yeah.
Like, nobody saw it coming. And, like, it also showed how freakishly strong Brock Lesnar is. Like,
exactly.
That's the Big Show. That's a 500-pound man.
Yeah.
And he freaking just gets in the corner and just literally, with all his strength, lifts him over his head onto the ring.
Unbelievable, but unbelievable visual between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar.
And another cool little highlight before the match is when Brock he throws the mic and then you see Roman catch it and he does like a wink.
Yeah.
So, but no, in terms of like all the matches Brock and Roman had, because we'll tell you, any wrestling fan will tell you, those two have like zero chemistry. Those two should not wrestle each other again. But then this last man standing match, they went all out for it.
Yeah,
we had a cash-in attempt.
Yeah,
we had interference.
Yeah,
it had everything, but it was great. And it's like some of the stuff that's like, oh, this would keep anybody else down. Brock and Roman kept getting up. Like it's like what they gonna take for them to stay down? And then eventually we saw. The announce table was put over Brock, and Brock couldn't get up to the count of 10.
Exactly.
By far, that was the best match Brock and Roman have ever had, and one of the best main events in the history of SummerSlam.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in my opinion, that SummerSlam as a whole wasn't that great. I think that match was by far the highlight of that year's SummerSlam.
Oh yeah, exactly. And honestly, probably as surprising as finish as we saw 10 years, before that when we saw Brock Lesnar absolutely maul your goats. I mean, he mauled them like a bear.
And you know what's great? I don't think a lot of people that was actually Cena's idea for Brock to squash him.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people know that was Cena's idea. Mm-hmm. Cena's like, no, you're a beast. You destroy me.
Mm-hmm.
That was his idea.
And my God, how many suplexes did he take?
I think it was 16.
16.
Because that's also what started Suplex City.
Yeah.
This match is what started Suplex City.
Suplex City, bitch. Yeah.
It's a family show, Mike. Watch the language.
Exactly.
It's okay, you're quoting.
Exactly. But just an absolute surprise of a main event. And Cena just allowing for himself to get mauled like that. Just crazy.
We've never seen that in the career of John Cena. We've never seen that.
Yeah.
Well, the only other time we've seen him really get brutally beat up was literally 2 years prior to that. Him versus Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules 2012.
Yeah.
When he got busted open. That's the last time we saw Cena actually get destroyed.
Yeah.
But like I remember watching that. Like, of course, I was upset that being a Cena fan, but it's also like I was genuinely shocked. I was just like, wow, the face of the company just got his ass whooped.
Yep.
Like nothing.
Mhm.
We've never seen it before.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And also, I mean, we hit a lot of lulls in SummerSlams that, like after that, like, what was it, 15 was Undertaker and Brock?
And I was at that one.
Yeah, I think that might have been like the last LA.
That was at Staples Center.
Yeah. And oh no, that was Hell in a Cell.
That was their Hell in a Cell match.
But yeah, I think.
SummerSlam Hell in a
2015.
Cell. Okay, yeah. I went to Hell in a Cell
16,
when it was.
I can't really remember the main events there.
I think that was.
I honestly, it had, Roman and Brock maybe.
I think that was a Fatal 4-Way.
I have no.
I think that's when we had like Braun Strowman and like Samoa Joe.
I think maybe 17 or
I
whatever.
think so.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. We're talking about the good SummerSlam main event.
Yeah,
here.
and I think both of us picked some solid ones.
Yeah, exactly.
A mix of like the past with like the present.
Exactly.
I was even telling you this the other day. I was like, most of these matches that we have is like SummerSlam main events is like most of these are like from the modern SummerSlams.
Yeah. One that comes to my mind too is wasn't a great SummerSlam whatsoever. I remember being kind of bored, but I did like the main event. Is SummerSlam 2009, CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy for the World Heavyweight title. That was one of the first ones they did in LA.
That was when they had, I think, the 4-year stretch of it in LA.
Yeah. And great main event. Great match between those guys. One of the last matches in WWE for Jeff Hardy, coming off his run there. Because after that, he left back to TNA. But really, good main event, and also solidified CM Punk as a major heel
in a main event, and it really helped showcase his ability as a main eventer.
Exactly.
Because that was at a time where they weren't sure if Punk could be a main event guy, and then that is a match that proved like, okay, Punk's a main event guy. He's a world champion caliber
guy. Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
So that's the SummerSlam main events. Now we're going to preview SummerSlam. I know we don't have too much time left, so
yeah. Go ahead. Let's preview.
Go quick. So we had some more matches announced last night on SmackDown. They announced Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa for the U.S. title in Steel Cage, and then Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, aka the Allies of Convenience, versus Raquel and Roxanne for the women's tag titles, and then the GOAT and Stardust had their contract signing.
Stardust.
Well, technically, this contract's not legally binding because Cena didn't sign it. So, so technically, this match isn't even official.
Yeah. Well, it is going to be official.
It is, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, it's an interesting way they went about it. Because
Cena should come back on the following SmackDown and say, "This isn't
a legally binding contract."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Be like, I didn't. I'm
signing on my will. Yeah.
He's like, it was against my will. But anyways, so we have Cena versus Cody for the Undisputed, and it was announced to be a street fight, so that'll be interesting because I think, even though I love the moment at WrestleMania, I think this match is going to definitely be better than their WrestleMania match.
Yeah,
and I think the stipulation is going to help with that.
Yeah,
because also I feel like that's what this feud kind of needed. I feel like this feud needed something to help it, maintain that energy. Because it's just like, man, these two are gonna have another normal wrestling match. So I feel like the street fight adds a lot to it.
Yeah,
and it adds a lot of potential for who's gonna get involved, what's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. I've been telling him, I think we're gonna get a double turn.
It's possible. You've been saying this for months now.
We're gonna get a double turn. Cody's gonna turn heel. Cena's gonna turn face.
Yep.
And we saw last night, we saw a glimpse of what a heel Cody would look like.
Exactly.
And so yeah, okay. So you have that, and then we have the WWE Women's Championship, the Queen of the Ring, Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton, and we have the WWE the Women's World Championship. We have Naomi versus Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley in a triple threat. And if judging by the past, we already know this triple threat's going to be a banger. Because for some reason, triple threat and multi-woman matches for some reason always deliver.
And I feel like the women, they always want to put on a great match.
And you would think, oh, it's a triple threat. But as we've seen in the past, the triple threat matches end up being some of the some of the best matches of the show.
Exactly.
Like not just for the women, like for the men too. Like triple threat matches, like are very underrated matches in my opinion. Like overall, I feel like triple threat is a very underrated like match stipulation because you do get some bangers and stuff. So you have that. Let's see, we have AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio for the IC title.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what LA Knight's gonna do. He may not. As of right now, he's not on the card, so we'll see what happens with that. The Women's Intercontinental Championship, we have Becky Lynch versus Lyra Valkyria, and that match would be. But because I gotta give props, I watched the match on Raw, Lyra and Bayley. That match was.
Yeah.
Oh, that match was a classic.
Yeah.
And fun fact, the first 90 minutes of Raw was all women. First time ever.
Yeah.
It's in the first 90 minutes of the show, there wasn't a single segment or match involving the men.
Really?
Yeah. So the first 90 minutes of Raw, all women.
Wow.
So that's why people are saying like, oh, it's basically Evolution 2. Or it's Evolution like continuing.
Yeah.
So like, when I found that out, I was like, that's interesting. But I was also like, you know what? I'm not surprised because the women have been killing it lately.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, they had a great Evolution pay-per-view.
They did from start to finish.
Yeah.
It was like, there was not one bad match on that card.
Exactly.
There were some matches that were like, not as good as others, but there was not one. By no means, there was not a single bad match on that card.
Exactly. Nothing to complain about. Not like Bill Goldberg complaining.
And I will tell you, the Atlanta crowd was into it, so I got to give props to Hotlanta for they're a good wrestling crowd because there's not a lot of good U.S. wrestling crowds. Atlanta's one of them.
Exactly.
I think you could put Atlanta on that list.
Exactly.
Of like the best U.S. wrestling crowds.
Yep.
So
exactly. So great stuff from the women. Saturday night's main event was kind of meh. The Goldberg Gunther match did. It exceeded expectations, but
and then we had the unfortunate Seth Rollins injury,
right?
Which people think it's a work. It is legit, but from what I've heard, I don't know if this is true. This is just like stuff I've read. They're saying like, oh, he had a minor knee injury before this match, and they kind of use this as like, I don't know if I believe that because it's like the way like you could literally see his knee buckle. It's like judging by his history, it's like, I don't really think.
I think here's the thing. Obviously we don't know what's
we don't know the extent of it. We don't really have an update other than like.
I think he legit got hurt, but I don't think the injury is as extensive as people think.
Because I think what they want to do, I think they want to draw attention away from him being Mr. Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
So when he does cash it, everyone's like, oh my god, like what?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be unexpected.
And then. I think Punk beats Gunther. And then we'll get into predictions next week, but I think Punk beats Gunther at SummerSlam.
And Seth cashes in.
Surprisingly. Well, Cena's good. Well, okay, we forget too. Now we have 2 nights of SummerSlam. So they're going to have to load up that card next week.
Yeah, well, I know. I'm pretty sure night 1 main event, Punk and Gunther. And then night 2 is Cody and Cena.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it'll be, since it's the first 2 night SummerSlam, it'll be interesting to see how they. How the rest of the card plays out because we still have one more. We still have another Raw and SmackDown before SummerSlam.
You know what? If I was WWE, you know what I would do? I would put a night 1 Cody and Cena. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, it would. I mean, nothing is set in stone yet. I'm just saying the early reports are saying it's Punk Gunther night 1, Cody Cena night 2.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, nothing's been set in stone yet. Nothing's been confirmed.
Exactly.
So it could all change, but it would be interesting.
Exactly.
Because then it leaves the door open. It's like, is one of them going to get involved in the World Heavyweight Championship match?
Exactly.
So it'll be interesting to see. But I think SummerSlam shaping up to be a great show. I know we were there at WrestleMania, and you know that the WrestleMania means a lot to me because I got to see my GOAT win 17. But I think SummerSlam has the ability to surpass WrestleMania.
I think so too.
Based off the card, at least this year, based off the card and the build.
Yeah,
I definitely think SummerSlam has the ability to
Let's see
surpass
how
WrestleMania.
Yeah, let's see how the 2 night format works because we haven't seen it for some
Yeah,
time.
so it'll be interesting how that plays out, and like if
Mhm.
it's as of right now, it sounds like it's gonna stick, but who knows? Things change all the time in WWE.
Exactly.
You can never say things are for certain.
Exactly.
So
But yeah, good stuff, dude. Yeah. All right.
yeah,
Sounds good.
and then so the next episode we'll do like our predictions for like our final predictions instead of just like a quick run through. We'll do our final predictions. And then probably the rest of the card will be finalized by then.
Exactly. And Ryan's gonna do it shirtless for all the ladies.
God,
Nah.
nah.
Nah. All right. Until later, guys.
Until next time, this has been Rasslin with Ryan.
And you can't see us.